Hi everybody, it's Thursday and I just want to say happy Turkey Day to my American friends. Yay! And I was off today because of the holiday, because the company I work for is an American company and they don't work today, so got today off. Doubly thankful for that. It has not been a good couple of weeks for me. I am really stressed and depressed and I don't know what I'm gonna do. So last Monday, I got sick at work and had to leave early, which was just, I don't even know why I was sick. I really don't. Haven't been able to go and get any kind of medical attention for that. I don't know if it's related to this ongoing thing. I still have this cold for, it's been either 5 or 6 weeks now. And it's still, I can feel it rattling around. And when I take a breath, I don't know if it's an infection or a sinus thing or what, but there's other things that could have made me sick too. I don't know. But anyway, and it was really disappointing because Monday was Diwali and a large majority of my coworkers are from India. So they were all wearing their cool traditional clothes, and I didn't get to see all the pretty clothes. I was really upset about that. So then I had the next day off. Excuse me. And I got my orders from the board, and they're gonna evict. So I have until till January to be out, and I'm not, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like 5 weeks. I'm really scared. I have nowhere to go. I can't afford another apartment. I don't have first and last. I'm insolvent, so nobody's gonna rent to me. I've only had 4 landlords in the last 20 years, and I mean, the place I've been living now, I've been there almost 11 years, and they're not going to give me a reference. The landlord I had before that passed away in 2017. The landlords before that, I wouldn't even know where to get a hold of them. I don't even know if they're still alive. And then the landlord before that, his name was Terry Good. He was notorious. He was a notorious local slumlord, and he fell off the face of the planet in 2015. Nobody has heard of him in the last 8 years, and that's it. That's everybody I've rented from in 20 years. And you know, you would think that would look good on paper, that I haven't had a lot of landlords, but that's it. I don't have any references. I don't have any money to move. I don't have anywhere to go, and rents have doubled and tripled in the last 5 years, and I can't afford another apartment. So I am going to file an appeal and see if at the very least I can get some more time, because, you know, my chances of dying of exposure living in my car will be greatly reduced if it's May than if it's January. But other than that, there's not going to be much that I can do about it. So I don't know. I'm worried. But I can't spend, I mean, I can dwell and brood and be depressed about it, or I can spend that time packing, which is what I have to do now. So wish me luck. I'm gonna need it. So needless to say, I didn't get a whole lot of reading done, but I did do a little bit. So I'm gonna review In Bloom by Paul Tremblay and It Waits in the Woods by Josh Malerman, which are the next 2 in the Creature Feature series that you can get on Kindle. And the other book I'd like to review is the debut novella, This Is Where We Talk Things Out, it's called. It's a novella, and it's by Caitlin Marceau. Now, I enjoy Caitlin Marceau's short stories, what I've read of her, and there is actually an interview with her kicking around on this channel. She was one of the authors that was in the collection that I edited a few years ago called Not Just a Pretty Face, Women for Her, Volume 1. Optimistically, though, volume 1 was optimistic. We were never able to produce volume 2. If I ever have the money together, I would love to print a volume 2, but we'll see what happens there. But anyway, so first the short stories. One thing that I noticed about the stories is that they're very, very contemporary, and that they seem to be mostly set around where the author lives or grew up, or kind of what the author knows. So the pram was set in rural Maine. Ankle Snatcher, I think it was like Boston, like a college town kind of thing. In Bloom is set in suburban Massachusetts, and It Waits in the Woods is set in the woods of Michigan. So familiar settings if you've been following the authors, as I have for a long time. So In Bloom is about a young woman who's a journalist. She writes for a newspaper. And again, and I had the same problem with Head Full of Ghosts, framing devices. I absolutely hate framing devices. Just tell the damn story. But anyway, so she is going to interview a man about, there's a problem with this blue-green algae that's kind of choking the waterways, and it's partly because of global warming, and it's partly because there's something there. So she goes to interview him, and as he tells his story, and the bulk of the story is his story, not her story, it turns out that when he was a kid, this same, or something resembling this blue-green algae, choked out a pond near his hometown, and was all wrapped up with his father walking out on the family when he was a kid too. So it's a pretty good story. It's a quick read. I found the ending a bit abrupt, but I really liked the characters. And the other story that I read was the next one in the series, and it Waits in the Woods by Josh Malerman. And it's about a young woman named Brenda, and her younger sister Amanda, was out in the woods 3 years ago, went missing. And nobody knows, they went searching and searching and searching, but there's this sort of specter of an urban legend of a creature called Opso that walks through the woods looking for its face. It has no face. And there's lots of really, really creepy stuff in it. It's quite an enjoyable read. And it's got it wraps up pretty well. I enjoyed it. The pace of it was quick. Barbara, you kind of look at her and you go, I mean, one of the worst things in the world to do is go to the woods alone, but she does it. And then the last book that I read, like I said, This Is Where We Talk Things Out by Caitlin Marceau. Very happy to see that she's getting some more publications out there and getting more recognition. And I actually picked it up because I have been following Darklit Press between Instagram and Facebook and everything. So I kept getting these little short reviews of the novella, and I was like, okay, I got to check this out, because I've read a little bit of Caitlin's stuff, and I've really enjoyed the story that she wrote for the anthology I edited, so I had to get this one. And it's also about it's about a woman who, her mother bothers her and bothers her and bothers her because they haven't talked in a long time. And her father has just recently passed away after spending time, he succumbed to Alzheimer's. So, the last few years were just really rough on the family. and he's passed away, and her mother, doesn't really know what to do with herself. And so finally, the main character's name is Miller, and her mother is Sophie, or Sylvie. Sorry, Sylvie, not Sophie. And I'm terrible with names, by the way. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but I'm really bad at remembering names. So anyway, so her mother just bugs her and bugs her and bugs her. So finally she's like, okay, let's go away for the weekend and we'll talk things out. So anybody who has, and it especially really rings true in the way that mothers and daughters just pick at each other. And the mother, it doesn't matter how old you get. She can be 100 and you can be 80 and you're still her child, and she will still treat you like her child. And this the relationship between these two women is so spot on. I know fathers and sons have different relationships, fathers and daughters, mothers and sons, but a mother and a daughter they just know how to push each other's buttons, like, without even trying. And Sylvie is this incredibly manipulative, narcissistic, guilt-tripping woman, and she is just so perfectly drawn. Oh, hats off. Because anybody who had a mother like that is just squirming, 10 seconds into the dialogue. So they go out to this cabin that Sylvie has recently purchased, and Miller walks in and is immediately creeped out because it looks like they're the house where she grew up. It's been decorated with all their old stuff, which Sylvie had in storage, and she's like, what is going on here? And then things just start getting weirder and weirder. And it starts out as sort of a domestic drama, and then it just starts to get creepy. Now, I saw the reveal coming, like, from the start. Maybe just because I read too many of these things, but other than that, like, I thought it was well paced. There's some pretty good tension, and I really like the way that the relationship between these two women who just do not get along is drawn, because you can't really get away from your parents until they're gone, and then it's like, did I do the right thing here? And you're always kind of going to be left with the second guessing yourself. So I didn't mean to keep rambling about that, but this is where we talk things out, by Caitlin Marceau. It's a long title, and it's one I'm not quite sure if I've got right. Again, terrible with names, terrible with titles. But overall, it was a good read. I'm glad I picked it up, and it was pretty cheap on Kindle. I think it was like $2.75 or something. So go and grab it if you can, and hope you're reading lots of horror. Have a great day.